The future is bright. Keep some noise going for your next comic tonight. Colin Smith, make some noise. Keep it going for Dan. All the way from Cornwall. All right. So, over the last couple of years, I've lost 60 pounds, and I wanted to share some of that journey with you. It really started with me changing my thinking. I used to think that my dryer was making my clothes tight, but it turns out it was my refrigerator. Okay. I tried multiple diets, because I couldn't get enough food with just one. I tried intermittent fasting, or as my wife likes to call it, sleeping till noon and missing breakfast. The problem was, when I'd wake up, I'd have a huge lunch, equivalent of 2 meals, so for me it became intermittent feasting, right? Really struggled, because couldn't get to work. Found one diet that I could stick to, though. And it was very simple, a salad diet. You may have heard of it, right? Very simple. Just vegetables as a protein. So really simple, you can do it all the time. I had a favorite salad, the tomato salad. So what I would do, I liked it warm, so I'd take the tomatoes, I'd crush them up. I'd add some shredded cheese, maybe some cured meat. And because I liked it warm, I'd put on a big round crouton and I'd bake it until it got nice and warm and bubbly. I'd take it out, I'd cut it into wedges, I'd eat it, and it was amazing. I could eat this every day. And then I found out you can order them from Domino's, right? So that made it easier, right? So I didn't lose a lot of weight, because I guess I was on a pizza diet, right? But in my defense, when I did order them from Domino's, I always asked them to cut it to 6 pieces, not 8, because 8's just too much food, right? All right. Thank you. Not everyone can do pizza jokes. It's all in the delivery. Actually, you know what? I think I actually smell some pizza. If somebody smuggles some in here. Like, I'm very, you know how when you go blind, your hearing gets better? Like, when you're fat, your sense of smell gets better. I smell pizza. It's in here somewhere. Someone's hiding it from me. I'm gonna have to maybe move on from that. It's intoxicating. People ask me, why I want to lose weight. There's lots of reasons, but I've been heavy most of my life. It's a journey. I'm still on it. I'm not where I want to be. So, really for me, it was FOMO, fear of missing out, right? It's 2020s. Everyone is in transition. Men are identifying as women and they want to make that transition, and women are identifying as men or whatever. Be what you want to be. And I felt like I was, Flanders trapped in Homer's body. Right? There's a skinny guy in there. I was trans fat, right? I wanted to be the best me. Not to diminish anyone who's going through a transgender transition, if that's your journey, but I was on a similar journey, right? I guess you could say I was trans slender. And here's what we have in common. At the end of our journeys, we still have to buy new clothes, right? In my case, you'll still be similar. All right. So I was struggling. Pizza diet wasn't working. Really had to change how I was thinking. Had to educate myself. So I went online, because that's what we do, right? And I went to FatGPT and found out that a pound of fat is 3,500 calories, right? Sounds like a lot. But how do you lose a pound of fat? So in order to burn 3,500 calories, you'd have to walk 56 kilometers. That's a lot. That's like walking from here to Castleman, right? Why would you ever want to walk to Castleman? They don't even have a Domino's. So I started to figure things out, got my nutrition in check, started to exercise. Oh, not to brag, I live in a house with 2 washrooms. And, I used to say I'm going to the John. When my kids were younger, they got confused because I'd say that for either washroom. So they decided that we were going to name one John and one Jim. And so when people ask me, they say, you've lost some weight, what do you do? And I say, every morning, first thing I do is I go to the gym. And I spend a long time there. Right? Oh, and people do ask me, how did you do it? And they ask if I take Ozempic, and I say, why are you so fascinated with taking injections to lose weight? We've had that forever. It's called heroin, right? Ever seen an overweight heroin addict? Right? They even have low blood pressure and low cholesterol. Right? So, okay, it's intoxicating. I got to get back to the pizza. I got to tell you a little bit more about pizza. So, obesity is an epidemic, and it really changes how you think and smell things and whatnot. But in North America, over 40% of adults are obese. Okay? In the United States, lots of studies have shown that there's an inverse correlation between hip-waist ratio and IQ. What that means is the fatter you are, the lower your IQ. I'm not sure if it's that being fat makes you stupid or being stupid makes you fat. I guess when I lose more weight, I'll figure that out. But I'll leave you with this. Last few thoughts about pizza. All right? Over 3 billion pizzas are sold each year in the United States. All right? And on any given day, 13%, that's 1 in 7 Americans are eating pizza. All right? Over 30% of American cheese consumption is in the form of pizza. And the United States imports large quantities of shredded cheese from Canada. Now, I don't want to embargo them. I don't want to put tariff on it. All I want to do is stop selling it to them pre-shredded. Let's sell them blocks of cheese. All right? Let's make America great again. That's my time. It's been a slice.
Keep it going for Colin, everyone. I must be listening. I didn't know it was dad joke night. I'm just trying to go into the annals of